I'm gonna say something that won't please many. I'm not a fan of the television series Sex and the City. Hi guys, I'm Kishore Zubair and today I'll be reviewing this book Sex and the City written by Candice Bushnell, and then I'll be comparing it with its television adaptation of the same name. So just like what most readers usually do, I too tried to read this book before watching the television series. But when I read it for the first time, I could hardly understand anything. So after about 100 something pages, I put the book down and started to watch the series instead. And like I said earlier, I'm not a big fan of the television series either. I'll tell you why later in this video. But after finishing the series, I picked up this book again, and now that I've read this entire book, I realize how good that show was. I mean, how can somebody create something this good out of something this bad? So first let me tell you a little bit about this book. Though the back cover of this book says it's a fiction, but it's not. Sex and the City is a non-fiction book. It is a collection of columns or essays that the authoress Candice Bushnell used to write for a weekly newspaper, the New York Observer, in which she shared the sexual escapades of her and her friends. She just changed the names of these people in this book to preserve their identity and maybe their dignity as well, because some of the stories and some of the comments made by these people in this book are mean and misogynist and homophobic and totally unjust. The story is set in New York and it represents the lifestyle and cruel mating habits of the rich, powerful, and enormously privileged population of America. It explains how incredibly high standards, over-the-top expectations, and mindless fantasies have ruined relationships and killed romance from the hearts and minds of people, and how it's turning them cynical, unsympathetic, and kind of psychotic. This book particularly stresses on American men who don't want to get married because they are being exposed to so many luxuries and endless options, and how it's leading to an utterly miserable condition for the women. Because of this mess, many smart, attractive, and successful women are leading a lonely life and they never get to get married. And even if a woman somehow gets married, doesn't mean she'll live happily ever after. Single women are desperately ruthless when it comes to finding and keeping the perfect guy. They'll even go after married or engaged men. Extramarital affairs are common, divorce rates are high. In short, the whole condition is extremely hopeless and pitiful. This book will help you explore and experience the American dating culture, and though the premise seems promising, it's how this book is written that spoiled everything. Now, after finishing this book, I was reading its reviews on Goodreads and I came across so many reviews that stated, please don't compare this book with its adaptation and you'll realize how good and different it is, blah blah blah. But even if I don't compare this book with the television series, it is just unenjoyable, at least for me. This book jumps everywhere. There are innumerable random characters with random stories and boring conversations regarding their dating life. There is no solid storyline. There is hardly any main character or characters. Yes, there are a few characters that appear every now and then throughout this book, but then they are so badly constructed that I didn't feel attached to any of them. Not even to the extremely popular lead protagonist Carrie Bradshaw and her hotshot love interest Mr. Big. There is no romance or chemistry between them at all. Each and every character in this book is shallow, self-centered, and unlikable, hopping cafes, restaurants, bars, pubs and clubs, smoking pots and cigarettes, drinking alcohol, partying, traveling, and leading a completely meaningless, shallow and superficial life. But what I hated the most about this book is how depressing it is. This book made me feel like it's almost impossible for older women who are in their 30s, by the way, to find a man and get married, because men desire younger girls and women become undesirable or less desirable after they turn 35. But rich and successful men remains desirable even in their 50s and 60s. Plus, it shows like men have all the power and they'll never need anybody. But if a woman won't get a man or if she won't get married, she'll die all alone, and it's just disheartening to read something like this. And the fact that it's a non-fiction book or it's a fiction book which is inspired from real life experiences and conversations is troubling me. I mean, I'm in my mid-20s and single. Soon I'll be in my 30s and this book scared me. I mean, I didn't like this book at all. Is it because it is too bitterly true? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section. I would love to know them. Anyways, now let's talk about its screen adaptation. This book has little or nothing to do with the American television series. That show is very loosely inspired from this book, but it's totally different. That show mainly revolves around 4 beautiful, successful, independent, single women who are in their 30s and 40s. Carrie Bradshaw, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, a fashion-obsessed newspaper columnist who writes about sex and relationships. Charlotte York, played by Kristen Davis, an uptight, classy and perfectionist lady who works in an art gallery. Miranda Hobbs, played by Cynthia Nixon, a practical and career-minded lawyer. And my favorite Samantha Jones, played by Kim Cattrall, a strong, confident and extremely outspoken businesswoman. The show is all about the struggles that these women faces in their careers, relationships and sex lives, and how they manages everything along with their emotions, and how they come to terms with themselves is all it is about. There are many other side characters in this show as well that appears every now and then or for a few episodes. Each and every character in this show is different and they have a different identity. They think and feel differently, they have different perspectives, and whether you love them or hate them, you will definitely connect to each one of them. These characters are present in the book as well with different professions and looks, but they just come and go with little or no impact at all. Another thing that I really liked about this show is that it is way less depressing than the book. It celebrates being a woman in her 30s and 40s. It presents these women as desirable, fashionable and independent who are living their lives on their terms and enjoying it. Yes, this show depressed me too at times, but even after making 1,000 mistakes, picking up wrong guys, messing up their relationships, these women would pull themselves up and starts again instead of falling into self-pity, which I really appreciate. Another thing that I really liked about this show is that it was really funny and it was full of energy. It got some really cool quotes and dialogues and asked some really interesting questions to think about. Also, New York City is presented very nicely with non-stop life happening. It was one of the highest rated sitcom of its time and I really enjoyed some parts of it. It's not that bad, it's not a bad show at all, otherwise I would have stopped watching it immediately. It's just not something that I would go back to again and again and again, like Friends or Comedy Nights or some of my other favorite TV shows. It was a one-time watch for me. One of the reasons might be that it's just not me. I mean, we like to watch on screen what we wish to have in real life but can't get for any reasons, right? But these things, this certain type of lifestyle that this show and this book promotes is not what I wish to have, at least not right now. Yes, I like to meet and talk and spend time with my friends, and I like to eat in cafes and restaurants, but not every single day. These women wear big branded clothes, and at least I never saw them repeat their outfits, and they have like dozens of Manolo Blahnik shoes, and it's good to watch, but it's not something that's in my wish list currently. Even if I'll have the money, I don't think I'll spend it that way. These things are not something that I fantasize, and these are not something that I like to watch on screen, or it's not something that grab my attention or attraction. I feel this show focuses too much on appearances and it promotes consumerism. Plus, it almost never criticizes any action or decision taken by the leading ladies. They will somehow prove them to be right. They somehow validate everything done by them, and they are usually almost right. And initially it was all fine, I was enjoying everything, but then this show is so long. I mean, it got 90 plus episodes and 2 movies. It was too much for me. I became bored and the show became repetitive after a certain point. Also, the relationship that Carrie shared with Mr. Big was awful, at least for me. That guy was toxic, and I hate movies and TV shows that promotes or romanticize toxic relationships. I hate that guy. I never hated a dreamy guy that much. Anyways, if you'll ask me whether you should read the book or watch the television series, I would still recommend you to go for the series as it is so much better than the show. I never thought I would say that ever in my life, but it is true. And if you have seen this video up to here, don't forget to like and comment. It won't take longer than watching this video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining. Goodbye.